Hello everyone, it's Infinity Gamer here and welcome to this March news update. The perfect place for you if you can't be bothered to check out every single Facebook page and every single video that is released from Corvus, Belli and others, and you just want a brief summary of the news that's going on in the world of Infinity. Well, haven't we had a month? March started off really strong. Corvus Belli announced the military orders expansion set, sectorial set that is basically the same as the Star Marder one that got launched towards the tail end of 2020, but this one focuses on Pan-Oceania's military orders, which is a fantastic sectorial. The set looks amazing, the models are brilliant, the sculpts are fantastic. I love them, I love the sculpts, I love the S5 Knight of the Holy Sepulchre, that one is stunning. I love Padre Mendoza. The profiles look brilliant. We got some lore released by Corvus Belli. We got a full unboxing, which was fantastic. And we even got a battle report, which is the new 3D style digital rendering one, because I guess it's pretty hard for people to play face to face, and this might be easier for them. Fantastic outlook there. But if I'm totally honest, things got a little bit overshadowed this week. Interesting strategy from Corvus Belli. Build some hype for military orders, and then drop maybe the biggest hype bombs I have ever seen from the company. I mean, where do I even begin with what they kind of told us here? So the release schedule that we got teased by Corvus Belli had some very interesting things. We had the N4 military orders, which we know was coming at the end of March, and we've been seeing that all of this week. Then we saw the Gen Con 2021, and it teased that something Code 1 related would be released at the beginning of August. Then we saw that Season 13 ITS was going to be launched in September at about the same time as the Aristea Global League Season 5 was going to begin, so that's all kind of in line, which is brilliant. And then this strange red N in October, November-ish time, kind of hinting that it wasn't N4 related. When I first saw it, I panicked. I thought, surely not M5. Like, that cannot be coming this soon. And so I obviously watched the rest of the video with bated breath, but that did get the heart stopping a little bit. And obviously Corvus Belli's 20th anniversary year, which is fantastic. It's so hard to believe that Corvus Belli have not been going for longer, because, you know, this is a fantastic company developing some really interesting stuff. So what did this amazing Twitch stream have in store for us? So one of the first updates that Carlos came out of this video with was that Aristea was going to be getting new skins for the existing miniatures that don't have skins, metal versions of themselves. He was quite specific that it's mostly metal versions that I think were going to be coming out. That the season, the AGL, was going to start back up again, which makes perfect sense. But that in kind of like a bigger sense, there were going to be no more expansions for Aristea this year. This, to me, is quite sensible. People haven't had much of a chance to play Aristea Primetime because of COVID since it was released, so good to focus on the core game, understand those mechanics before you start to add expansions. However, things were going to start to move the other way. So one of the things that we've obviously seen fairly recently with military orders is that Padre Mendoza, which is an Aristea character, is now getting an Infinity release. Carlos also mentioned that Wild Bill, which has always been a Aristea character, will also get an Infinity release in its own individual blister pack, which I must admit I thought there already was one, but clearly not. Clearly I'm misremembering, and that's very normal, so no real news there. And then obviously Pavati, which is an Aristea character, has been released in the ITS Season 12 pack, is also getting her own individual release too, which is great because I am actually using Pavati a lot more in my Star Marder lists, so I think that's going to be nice to see. Okay, the big one, one of the big ones, I actually struggled to go with which news article was going to be next based on how amazing and exciting and just mind-blowing they were. The Code 1 pack that's coming next, Crimson Stone. Now this is very exciting. So it's Nomads and Cosmoflot, or Ariadna, pretty much. Now, they're fully Code 1 compatible, so if you've wanted to get into Nomads or Ariadna for Code 1, and you haven't been able to up until now, obviously, because we've been limited to the 4 factions that were released with Wildfire and Coldstrom. Now you're going to get 2 more armies that are fully Code 1 compatible, but more than that. Kind of like how Wildfire was the start of Star Marder and Shasvasti sectorial. Then you got Coldstrom, where you basically got White Banner and the other one, I don't know. But, you know, they're fully Code 1 compatible, but what I'm basically trying to say is that they are actually also the fundamentals for sectorials too. So if you are an M4 player and you're not interested in playing Code 1, then these are great packs for you to be able to build up your sectorials. If you're a Code 1 player and you're thinking maybe in the future I want to get into M4, this is an amazing way to do it. So I love these. I mean, Cosmoflot has me really excited because with the teaser images, there was like big space bear. Looks amazing. And I love the idea of Ariadne going into space, and Cosmoflot sounds really good. And it moves the storyline. So if you haven't seen my narrative campaign, my narrative video yet where I explain a little bit about what's happened in N4, I've linked up to the card above, but everyone's obviously moving into space to fight the Cerberus kind of threat that's coming on, and Cosmoflot is Ariadne's way of supporting O12 Starmada and a lot of the others that go there. And then Corregidor, which is horribly pronounced, I know, but that is the Nomads kind of sectorial that's being supported here. So super excited about these. I love both of these factions, to be perfectly honest. Nomads was the first army I saw being played when I saw my first ever game of Infinity, and I love the models, so I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Nomads. Maybe one day it will come onto the roster of factions that are slowly creeping into my lists. But fantastic options here. I cannot wait to see more. These are going to be a brilliant pack, so start saving your monies. These are going to be a must buy. It was confirmed that the Chucks Long Armed, which featured in my last news update, is going to get an actual release, but not only that, it's going to be as part of a box of 3. We also saw Combined Army Agent Dukash, Vishal Special Corps, who looks very demonic. Super cool sculpt. Kind of like a Hellboy cross thingy, but looks amazing anyway. I do love that direction that Corvus Belli are taking with that. We did see the Karakuri Special Project, which is super anime, which obviously if that's your thing, then this is probably going to be even just a collector sculpt, just maybe one for you to have and paint, even if you don't actually factor in putting it into a list, but looks stunning either way. We also saw Mukhtar Active Response Unit from the Ramar Task Force. I really love this sculpt. I love the floating platform look. Really plinth worthy for me. So that is, to me, how you take a model that is going to be playable on the table. You're going to use it every mission. It's going to be practical, but off the table, it needs to be in a display cabinet. It needs to get your best paint job. I really love that model. I genuinely do. But talking about new releases that I'm excited and pumped about, the Raptor Boarding Squad finally got announced. Now, I have been frothing for this one because I have played the Raptor several times in my mission. I'm having to use my bronze, which doesn't get as much table time, and then just using anything else as the Diva bot. I'm so excited, A, that it just got a release, because it again goes back to my point of I love it when models have, when profiles have models to use. But I also just love the sculpts. If this is what they're going to look like, we've got 4 great models here. I mean, the Diva bot, I think, is actually maybe only one model, and it's just from 2 different angles. But the Diva bot looks amazing. I mean, that heavy flamethrower looks like it's just going to fry bacon. Well, obviously, this is the police force, so maybe not the best expression. However, the 2 Raptor models, fantastic. I love the slightly more passive, maybe more practical one, and then the really dynamic one that's kind of taking center stage here. I'm really happy they're getting a release. I'm really happy that they look this good because they're pretty much on the table every time I play Starmada, and I'm going to really enjoy putting these on the table. Fantastic job, Corvus Belli, and amazing. And on a similar thread, Varangians. How pumped am I that we're actually getting Varangian sculpts? Again, this is maybe one of the last models that I am having to proxy for Starmada 012. Because I've always got at least 1, maybe 2. The fact that we're actually getting a sculpt for Varangians makes me super happy because even though Infinity is very proxy friendly, I don't like having to do it if I can avoid it. Now I can get the models, I'm really happy with that. Shona Carano is getting a re-release. Now, I actually have the limited edition version and I like it as a sculpt. I think it's very dynamic, but this new one is excellent. So what I do love again is that if you miss out on the limited edition version and you just go for the main release for anything that Corvus Belli do, it's not a step down in any way, shape or form. It's just a very different pose. The Ariadne Tank Hunter. Can I just pause to talk about this one for a minute? Wow. The size of that gun. That autocannon is massive. I love this. I mean, Corvus Belli, in my opinion, can occasionally maybe make some of the feminine models or female models look very feminine, and this is not necessarily one of those. If I face Ariadne and that model is on the table, I may be rethinking several choices because that thing looks amazing. I mean, it's a great sculpt, but it also looks like it's about to destroy my tag if I've got one on the table. The Vostok Sputnik is an amazing looking drone. Corvus Belli do great drones just by and large. This one is another one that looks insane. Shaolin Warrior Monks, again, this looks like a fantastic sculpt. I've gone up against a couple of Shaolin Warrior Monks, and it's nice that these sculpts, I think, doing them justice for how much they have annoyed me on the table when I've been opposite them. Great sculpts here, really dynamic, amazing, just super sculpt. I also just need to reflect on the excitement that Carlos has during Military Orders Week for Pano, being able to announce a Yujing sculpt release. Like, who didn't crack a smile when he seemed to act as though he'd beaten the system in sneaking that in there? Like, what a great guy. Honestly, just lifts up the day effortlessly. The Military Order Tertiarian Trinitarian. Thanks for that, Corvus Belli. You know I struggle to pronounce things as it is, and then you throw in that sort of word. Again, looks super cool, really dynamic pose. Also a huge fan of those Teutonic Knights. When I saw the image, I thought, oh, that actually looks cool. That's a pin-up poster. It looks, you know, very aggressive and dynamic. Then I saw 3D sculpt, and I was like, that mask, that has really stepped up a couple of notches. That's making Military Orders and Pano look almost evil. I do love it. That's one of my favourite maybe Military Orders sculpts that isn't coming in the Military Orders pack, and I know that's like a limited option, but that looks cool. That's almost making me flex the wallet a little bit, which I don't need to do. The last major update, and maybe by far easily the biggest, was the announcement of TAG Raid. So this is going to be a Kickstarter campaign that Corvus Belli are going to launch towards the tail end of the year, and it's going to feature the biggest models that they have ever done, according to Carlos, which I find exceptionally interesting because of the Defiance Megalodron, which was not a small miniature by any stretch of the imagination. Now this is going to be great. I wonder how transferable it's going to be into normal Infinity. Kind of like Defiance, you can use a lot of those models in the actual game, which means that pretty much if that's going to involve tags, that means that every faction's definitely going to have tags, maybe more than one. You know, not just Pano can enjoy that sort of existence. This is going to be exciting. I'm really keen to see what's going to happen. I wanted to see what the gameplay is. It says it's multiplayer. That would be fantastic. It's kind of like a battle royale rumble with some of the biggest models that Infinity have ever produced. This is really exciting. I'm super hyped. I mean, if you cannot tell, I mean, I've had to do this video in stages because I got too excited at various points of this. Had to sit down, take a breath, and then come back to the video. You probably can't tell because I'm still very excitable. I'm really pumped with this these Corvus Belli updates. We're going to have a big year in 2021. COVID hopefully won't get in the way too much, but with these product releases and with some Kickstarter campaigns to get behind, fantastic to see great developments coming out of Corvus Belli. I cannot wait to see more. That has been the March news update, maybe one of the biggest ones that we're going to see this year. Stay tuned, like and subscribe if you want to see more updates, and I will catch you soon.